But with this schedule, if we don't show up and put on our A game at that quarterback position, we could win 5 games and legit, be winning 5 games with the quarterback we're paying $40 million to.
Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. All right, so it's been 2 months. It's been 2 months since I uploaded a video. I think the last video I did was on Dexter Lawrence signing his deal. Maybe one more after that. But I mean, I just haven't really felt the need to make Giants content. I haven't looked at something and said I really want to weigh in on that. So I just didn't make a video, and it just kept going and kept going. And like I said, I didn't really see much that I just really wanted to comment on. I mean, the whole Saquon Barkley thing's been going on, but for the most part, not much has been going on in Giants land. If anybody saw me the last time I came back, because the last time I came back, I said I hadn't been on for a while, but I had at least been uploading a couple times a month. But I finally got my old background back. Found this old picture, got it back. I was going with the old Dable with the Bills logo. I had the Giants logo put over top of the Bills logo. So now I actually got DJ and Thibodeau back. I'll probably do an updated version when we get into the season or when we get closer, depending on what happens in training camp, who I decide I want to kind of throw in this background. But anyway, I wanted to talk today about, will we be able to repeat? Will we be able to get back to the playoffs? That is a huge question here, and it's not a guarantee that we'll get back to the playoffs. Every year, I mean, you got 4 or 5 new teams at least that make the playoffs that did not make the playoffs the year before. So that shows you it is not a guarantee. In order for us to do that, we're going to have to be consistent. We're going to have to improve because there's a lot of things that we're going to have to rise to the occasion to be able to, match up to. So let's get straight to it. First, I want to start off with why the Giants will make the playoffs this year, and I'll get to a why not. But this is going to be basically a pros and cons kind of video. So the first thing is we added weapons. Now, a lot of people say you added Darren Waller. He's not a receiver, but Darren Waller, when healthy, is a #1 receiver. He's out there playing tight end, but he's a #1 option as a receiving option. We got him. We got the guy. He just needs to be healthy. Hopefully he is healthy. And, he can go out there and be running full speed. He can go out there and make those catches that he makes. He can go out there and command that attention from the defense. Listen, he's been looking good so far. And the little things that we've seen him in, it's July now. I think the NFL season is actually coming pretty close to getting back. I'm pretty sure, preseason starts at the end of this month. So we're going to see how he looks, at least out there in training camp. There's going to be a lot of stuff popping out. So excited to see what Darren Waller looks like. But he is your #1 guy for if this offense is really going to take the next step, because he's your alpha. So beyond that, we added some good depth. We added some good pieces. And, you got a guy like, excuse me if I'm butchering his name, I'm pretty sure it's Jeff Smith from the Jets, who's they're projecting to be a special teamer if he were to make the team. And we got Jamison Crowder also coming from the Jets, but we know him from when he was on Washington, and he was a nightmare in the middle of that field as that slot receiver. Smart vet. He's a guy that can be a depth piece for that slot if he ends up making the roster. We added Paris Campbell, a guy that played a lot of slot in his career, but also can play outside. He's got crazy speed. He can go up and get the ball. He's not too short of a receiver. I think he's over 6 feet. He's the guy that we thought replaced Darius Slayton, but we got Darius Slayton back too. So a lot of speed there. And then when you talk about speed, we also took Jalen Hyatt this year in the draft. And Jalen Hyatt is a guy that's going to take the top off the defense. Day one defenses are going to be playing back off of this guy because they do not want him running by him. He's going to be running those posts. He's going to be running those 9 routes. He's going to be running these comebacks. And from what we've been seeing, it looks like they want him running the full route tree. So he might surprise you. Maybe he can go out there and really do something, because also his offense didn't ask him to run the full route tree. So he may be very well capable of it. We'll see if he can do it in an actual game situation. But those are a ton of weapons that we've added. We also added Why am I forgetting my man's first name? Gray, the running back Gray. Uh, I want to say Earl Gray for some reason, but I know that's not his name. But we added him, and I've done videos on him. I don't know why I don't remember his first name now, but we got the running back there. He's a guy that is he's a balanced runner. He can run through contact. He can pretty much do everything that you want on the field besides catch passes. Not besides catch passes, besides break away in the open field. I was going to say he is a very good receiving back. He's going to help day one there. He's decent in the pass protection game. So he can play third down back day one. He can be, if Saquon didn't show up week one, he can go out there, not to say he's going to be Saquon, but he can fill in that role along with Matt Breida. Both of those guys can go out there and get it done. So happy we added these weapons to our offense. Also, it's year two of the offense. That's another reason why it's a year two. Coaching comes into effect. You got Brian Dable, another year in his culture. You got Wink Martindale, another year comfortable in his defense. A very complex defense. He says it's a complex defense, but it's also an easy defense to follow. So another year in it, whether it's difficult, whether it's easy, is going to help everybody out there. People are going to be playing this much faster. And that's the difference between a lot of plays, becoming successful for the offense and not successful for the offense. So a lot of really good things, because we're in year two. And then Mike Kafka, along with Daniel Jones, along with Brian Dable, along with Darius Slayton coming back and Wan'Dale Robinson being healthy, Sterling Shepard being healthy. Those guys know the playbook. Darius Slayton, Isaiah Hodgins, just going down the list. We got so many weapons that you think are good weapons, and then you add Waller on top of that, who you think is an elite weapon. So all these guys in year two, besides the new guys, are going to help out so much, and Daniel Jones especially is going to be a lot of. He should be playing a little faster. He should be playing with a little bit more confidence. You saw him in that Colts game last year really step up and look like he had a great command of this offense. So I just want to see that continue. And if it does, we won't have any problems winning games this year. So thirdly, not lastly for the pros, thirdly, we have all pro players on our team. We've got Andrew Thomas and we got Dexter Lawrence. If those two can play up to where they should be playing, we're going to have a certain amount of wins just regardless. You got an all-pro left tackle. You got an all-pro defensive tackle who's coming right up the middle of the line of scrimmage. So those guys should show up. I'm looking for McKinney. You can do it, man. You can get an all-pro. You can be that all-pro kind of player, whether the Giants pay you, whether somebody else is pay you. He can be an all-pro level player. And if we get all-pro level play from 3 players on our team, all we need is 3 guys. It may be 4 if Saquon makes it. If we can do that, we should be a lot better as far as being able to make the playoffs this year and competing every single week. If we can get that from them, that will go a long way. And then lastly, depth. The first thing I look at is, I've already talked about it, the receiving core. Let's go down the list. You got Slayton, you got Hyatt, you got Campbell, you got Jamison Crowder, you got Isaiah Hodgins, you got Wan'Dale Robinson, you got Sterling Shepard. I've said the 7 guys right there. That's 7 guys right there that I think are at least wide receiver 3s, wide receiver 2s, and a couple of those guys like Wan'Dale, Isaiah Hodgins, Jalen Hyatt. They could be wide receiver level 1 kind of talent. We just haven't seen it yet. We don't know. But that is very, very good depth there at receiver. And I think that makes us infinitely better than we've been in the past, because before 1-2 receiver gets hurt, we are severely handicapped at that position. Also, when you look at the defensive line, defensive tackle, we got 5-6 guys deep. I'm not going to keep going into, you got Nacho, you got Ashawn Robinson we added. You're getting DJ Davidson back this year. So a lot of new pieces that we've added to this defensive line. I still want some more edge players. I still don't think we have that solid third edge. It seems like it's going to be O'Shane Ximines again, so it's not the worst thing in the world, and Jihad Ward. But we need a dominant third pass rusher. He doesn't have to be an all-pro or Pro Bowl player, but he's got to just be a guy that can get us 6 sacks as a third defensive end edge player. So that's where we need some help there. But other than that, we've got depth almost everywhere on the team besides the secondary, which will bring me to why the Giants could possibly miss out on the playoffs. Now, that first thing is the secondary, specifically safety. We were solid last year at safety when McKinney went out, but those guys are not proven safeties. You got Pinnock back there. You got McKinney back there, who's going to be a Pro Bowl level player. You got a couple of guys back there with not much experience. We lost Julian Love, and I think that is a sizable loss. But hopefully, one of those guys can step up right beside McKinney and just play solid enough for that not to be a hole. Then you look at slot corner; it leaves a lot to be desired. Hopefully, Aaron Robinson. Hopefully this guy can finally stay healthy, get out there on the field, and play cornerback in the slot, because I think he's our best option at slot corner. Cordell Flott is another guy who's out in the mix, but I think he's a better boundary corner than slot corner. So I'm kind of confused of who's going to play slot, who's going to win that job. I am not a fan of Darnell Holmes at all. I don't think he should be out there playing in the slot. He shouldn't be playing at all on the defense. He's a really good tackler in the open field on the defense, but when it comes to coverage, especially in the slot with the shifty guys, he has not held up well at all the last 2 years. So that is a big position of weakness. Other than that, we added Deonte Banks, but he's a rookie. We got Oduwadiye from the Lions, who I hope is at least going to be that solid number 2 corner if Deonte Banks isn't ready to go. So I feel really good about the boundary depth, but I'm not feeling as good about the slot corner depth and the safety depth across from Xavier McKinney. So that kind of gives me cause for pause right there. And then I'll kind of lean towards Evan Neal right across from Andrew Thomas. And Evan Neal is a guy that struggled last year, clearly was injured. I'm thinking that he's going to be better this year. But if he is not better this year, that is a huge issue. If he's not better, or if he's worse, it's going to be difficult to run the offense when your right tackle isn't able to give the quarterback ample enough time to scan the field and get the ball to all of these weapons that I just named. So Evan Neal has got to step up. It is a non-negotiable. If he doesn't step up, we're going to be struggling. It's just that simple. The right tackle and the left tackle have got to stand up. They have got to be solid players, especially when the guards are not Pro Bowl level guards. Also, that left guard spot. Is it Bredesen? Is it Izudu? We got to figure that out too. So, a lot to figure out there. But I'm mostly concerned about that secondary and that edge. And then also that right tackle with Evan Neal. He's got to step up. So also, let's look at the fact that we have a tougher schedule this year. This year, of course, we played the NFC East. Guess what? We made the playoffs last year. Dallas made the playoffs. And the Eagles made the playoffs. These are 3 legit playoff teams last year. And we've got to play Dallas. We got to play Philly. Washington has a very good team. They were only 1 game behind us. With not for 1 game that we won against them, they would make the playoffs and we would have been at home. So this is a very tough division. I think a lot of people are underestimating the Washington football team or the Washington Commanders. I think a lot of people are underestimating them, because if they can get solid play out of that quarterback, they have a ton of weapons. They got a solid team around them. So we cannot afford to go to sleep for any of these division games. None of these are rollover easy games, at least right now, before injuries and all of that. So we got to deal with the NFC East. So that's 6 games that we have got to play with those teams. And that's going to be difficult. And then on top of that, we play the AFC East. You got the Bills. You got the Dolphins. You got the Jets with Aaron Rodgers now. I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan, but he's there. He's a good player. And then you got on top of that, you got the Bills, Jets, Patriots. You got the Patriots too, and Bill Belichick is never going to be a slouch. Those are all going to be games that are not gimme games. And that's 6 games in the NFC East, 4 games in the AFC East. That's 10 games between these 2 tough divisions. And then also, guess what? You got the NFC West. And those games are never easy. So this is a very difficult schedule. NFC East is playing some very tough teams this year. So we got to show up. We cannot afford to mail it in any of these games, because we will get embarrassed. We will lose even if we are a much better team. So we've got to rise to the occasion, and we have got to be the team that people look at and say, that's a tough win. Because guess what? These teams that are the best in the league, when they go against teams and they have a tough schedule, they still are projected to win double digit games every year. So we've got to be that team if we want to make the playoffs. We have got to be a legit. If we make the playoffs this year, we're a legit playoff team that should be winning games in the playoffs because we got a tough schedule this year. So, and then my last thing I'll wrap this up with is Daniel Jones ready? And that falls into the schedule. Is Daniel Jones going to be able to perform on these primetime games we have this year? We got a ton of primetime, ton of away games, ton of 4 o'clock games. Is he going to show up? Is he going to continue to stay on his path of showing up and looking like the leader of this offense and executing at the highest level? Is he going to continue to do that? If he can, the sky is the limit. But if he cannot, we're going to struggle. We could be a 6-win team. We could be a 5-win team because we could legit, neutral and a neutral thing where we're just playing just regular teams. We could be a team that's like a 10-win team. But with this schedule, if we don't show up and put on our A game at that quarterback position, we could win 5 games and legit, be winning 5 games with the quarterback we're paying $40 million to. So you guys let me know what you think of this season. Is this going to be another playoff season? Was last season a fluke? What do you think is going to happen this year? You guys let me know. Good to be back. If you made it this deep into the video, come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.